And welcome back to Let's Play Xenogears. Oh, got some dialogue right in the beginning. So let the Gazel Ministry go on it. Would you look at that? Alright, I'd forgotten to mention it in the last episode that we do know why everybody mutated, and it was because of Krelian. Krelian went and put a computer virus like in the sky that would go and affect the nanomachines once they got up there. So, he didn't want the limiters removed, and he wanted something bad to happen to the people as a result of it. He's one twisted motherfucker. Okay, now, some other stuff has happened in the beginning of this episode. The Gazel Ministry wanted to put their plan into effect. They wanted to use the Gattaca key for what they call resurrecting God. Now, we don't really know what that means, what their concept of God is. It's really confusing. But we do know that something bad would happen if they went ahead with their plan. And it has something to do with the mutations that the people are going through. Now, as they were going to use the key, of all people, Emperor Cain, who is the leader of Solaris, in some form at least, steps in and says, no, you're not going to do it. Basically, he's putting his foot down and saying, we're not going to control the people anymore. That is not what we're doing. We're stepping aside and we're letting them take over, and I'm not going to let them all die because of whatever the Gazel Ministry's plan is. Okay, this is kind of a irritating little enemy. They're not altogether difficult, but don't underestimate them because they can do some rather powerful attacks. They have a certain attack which I'm not sure happens in this battle, but they jump forward and they hit you with an attack that does 10 times as much HP damage as you have EP in that character. which in a majority of characters would mean they die outright no matter what their HP is, with the exception of possibly like Rico, who has a low EP but a high HP. So, although these are relatively good enemies to practice your death blows against, don't screw around with them too much. Kill off most of them. Only have one left by the time you go and do some death blow practicing, sort of like what I'm doing right here. Now, Kain stepping in and telling the Gazel Ministry that they can't go and use the Gattaca key, which seems to be going against even Krelian's plan, is kind of a big thing. Because, on one hand, you have this organization which has existed since the beginning of human civilization on this planet, which we have heard is about 10,000 years. Humans have existed for 10,000 years on this planet. And that Kain and the Gazel Ministry were the first humans to exist. And since that time, they have been working to resurrect their god, what created them. Now Kain is all of a sudden saying, no, that's not happening. I'm not going to do this. And this kind of actually goes along with what he has done with Saitan, because it was Emperor Kain the whole time that was telling Doc to go and follow Faye around to assess his threat. Is Faye a threat? Is Faye not a threat? Now, until now, we've believed that to be some sort of, idea. Is he a threat to Solaris? Is he a threat to Kain's plan? Is he a threat to the Gazel Ministry? And if you ask the Ministry, yes, Faye is a threat. But Kain sees him in a different way, and he had Doc go and do the assessment, and Doc says, no, he's not our enemy, and we shouldn't kill him. In fact, Faye is, in a way, the Emperor's hero, because he represents everything that the Emperor has decided he's not going to go along with. Let me rephrase that. I said that kind of wrong. The Emperor wants to stop the Ministry's plans. He's not willing to kill them or anything, but he doesn't want them going ahead with what they're doing. At the same time, Faye, even though he doesn't know what their plan is, isn't willing to go along with it either. He wants to stop it. Now, the reason why the Gazel Ministry is afraid of Faye, and this is something that we could have put along, I'm not actually revealing any new information by saying this, because the Gazel Ministry were killed 500 years earlier. They were killed by the Diabolos invasion that happened at the end of the Shivat-Solaris War. That was 500 years ago. Who was at the head of that war? Graf was. Graf and Lacan are the same person, and Faye is the reincarnation of Lacan. So they look at Faye and they see it's Lacan being reincarnated. And he was the one that nearly destroyed all life on the planet and killed the Gazel Ministry, and which now survive as nothing other than computer software. This is another type of enemy. I believe it's the only other type of enemy you encounter in this dungeon. And it's kind of a weird little fat lizard thing. And it has a high HP. It'll take in a lot of damage. But something you gotta watch with it, though, is death blows. A majority of the death blows you throw at it will just do a lot of damage to it, and you'll be fine. Oh, here's a new, the first of Bart's elemental death blows. Well, your death blows will do a lot of damage to this monster, but occasionally it will retaliate against a death blow by eating one of your characters, and your character will simply be removed from the battle and will not have any EXP boost or anything like that from the battle. So you gotta watch you're fighting this guy. Now you're not gonna see too many of them. Most of the enemies you see are gonna be those weird little robot things. But you will run across a few of these monsters. Unfortunately, if you're not willing to use death blows, it makes the fight take forever. Now let's go back to that power struggle inside of Solaris. Even though the capital city of Solaris was destroyed, Solaris as a country still exists, and the hierarchy still exists. You have 3 groups of people. At the top, or allegedly at the top, you have Emperor Cain, who basically has veto power over everything. I mean, nobody can really stop him from doing what he wants to do. No one was able to stop him from stopping the Gazel Ministry from using the Gattaca key. On the other hand, Cain has, in a way, he's gotten soft over the years, and he's not willing to go ahead with the plan, whatever it is, for fear that, you know, it's gonna kill too many people. He doesn't want to kill people. Then you have the Gazel Ministry. Oh, here's a retaliation for a death blow. On the other hand, you have the Gazel Ministry, who, through a majority of the game, appear to be actually the guys who are calling the shots in Solaris. They ordered so much of the devastation and the killing and all of that crap that occurs at the hands of Gebler. They were basically the ones pulling the strings, causing it all to happen. They attacked Kislev, they attacked Shivat. I mean, it was at their whim that all this crap happened. And it gets a little more confusing than that, a little more complex than that. We also have this Krelian individual. Krelian is a very old individual. We've seen him in flashbacks of 500 years ago, so he's at least 500 years old. And he is not a Solarian at all, actually. He's a surface dweller. He used to live in Nisan. He was talking to Lacan. He knew Sophia back 500 years ago. Something obviously happened to him, though, because he's flipped his shit. And he's evil, and somehow he's managed to work his way into the top of Solaris. And Ellie, during that public address he made in Solaris, said that he is the real leader of Solaris. He seems to be the guy that actually has all the goings-ons, and while he doesn't seem to deal with the Emperor a whole lot, we do see him talking to the Gazel Ministry. The funny thing is, they don't think of Krelian as being their superior. They see him as just another person who should be doing what they say. He, on the other hand, flat out goes and rejects their attempts to control him, and he just brushes them off. He doesn't take them too seriously. So we don't really know how he came to this position of power, or why they allow it, or what his motivation is. But he's working with Solaris. He's been seeing a lot with Maang, and well, he's a twisted son of a bitch. The only thing we do know about Krelian is he is interested in the nanotechnology that he got from Emeralda. And Tara, some long time ago, taught him about the nanotechnology, but the nanomachines in Emeralda are much more advanced than the ones he knows about and the ones he could build himself. That's why he needed her. But why he needs nanomachines, we don't know. What he intends to use them for, we don't know. We're gonna have to find out. Now this code here, you have to enter in a code, and it's actually not that difficult to get a hold of the code. But since it had been quite a while since I played this, I had forgotten about it. It's gonna see me fumble around like a moron. I thought that this is where you got the code from, but whatever. But then I went and I remembered it, and then I entered the code. That's not what you want. Stop playing with that. Stop playing with that. We're gonna see a little bit of a cut, and then I'll put the code in. And there it is. Now the reason why we are here is because we need the Anima Relics. The Anima Relics are the things that turn a regular gear into an Omni gear, and it's obvious the practical application that Solaris wants these things for. An Omni gear is a very powerful weapon. And of course, you can't allow Solaris to have all the powerful weapons. You need to get as many of these as you can. So that's why our heroes are here. They want to get the Anima Relic before Solaris has a chance to steal it. Unfortunately, or maybe we should say fortunately, they haven't encountered any Solaris forces here. Maybe they just haven't shown up. Or they don't know where this is. This ancient civilization structure. But kind of an odd place to do it, but I'm going to end the episode here. So come back to the next one and see them catch up with the Anima Relic.